In-Flight Movies is a live recorded radio show broadcast on a Monday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. UK time. You can listen live in the Aberdeen local area on 99.8 FM or online at shmoo.org.uk. The following show has been edited to remove all music. You can hear the music by listening live to the show. Links can be found on our Twitter at inflight_movies. That's at inflight_movies.
And now, on with the show.
Are you troubled by strange noises in the middle of the night?
Do you experience feelings of dread in your basement or attic?
Have you or any of your family ever seen a spook, specter, or ghost?
If the answer is yes, then don't wait another minute. Pick up your phone and call the professionals. Go Ghostbusters! Our courteous and efficient staff is on call 24 hours a day to serve all your supernatural elimination needs.
We're ready to believe you!
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You are joining us once again on this lovely Monday evening here on Shmoo 99.8 FM. My name is Glenn, and I'll be your captain this evening for this week's flight on In-Flight Movies. And with me is my gorgeous, beautiful, stunning man of a friend, Mr. Ryan.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm here as always.
As always. I always feel like I berate you for being in my life every week whenever we open the show.
It's very nice to be accepted once in a while.
So I felt I should praise you this week.
Thank you very
much. Just to switch it up.
Yes.
Just to switch it up. This week on In-Flight Movies, we have got a good show for you. We have got reviews of King Richard, brand new Will Smith film, biopic about Richard Williams, the tennis coach of Serena and Venus. We have got Ghostbusters Afterlife, and as you just heard, we had played Ghostbusters. Well, kind of Ghostbusters.
Yes.
What I like to call the improved version of Ghostbusters, which is just called Bustin'.
It has become the staple Ghostbusters in my life.
I can't listen to Ghostbusters anymore since hearing it, and neither will you. As well as that, we also have a review of Petite Maman, the new film from Céline Sciamma, director of Portrait of a Lady on Fire. That and so much more here on Shmoo 99.8 FM. If you want to get in touch with us throughout the show, you can on Twitter at inflight_movies. That's at inflight_movies. We'd love to hear what you want to say, and of course, as well as all these lovely things, we've also got great music. And I can promise you from now on it's going to be normal music too, no remixes. Be Alive there by Beyonce, featured within the film King Richard. We'll be speaking about that very soon. Oh, is that the lovely sound of jazz I hear?
I think that can only mean one thing.
Is that a royalty-free jazz bed I hear?
It is.
Oh, it's gorgeous, and that can only mean one thing. The show is now officially started. We're at cruising altitude, and we're ready to get started here on In-Flight Movies. And the rustling of paper can only mean one thing.
Yes.
It's news time.
It's news.
We're never going to get a jingle for that.
No, I don't like the idea of doing a jingle.
I hate the idea of a jingle.
Yeah, exactly.
We could be presenting on the biggest radio station in the world, and we would
refuse.
I will blankly refuse. My only terms to present on that radio station is don't even give me a jingle. I'll punch you. Leave me be. I've got a series of things to say, but before I even say a single thing about any of them, Ryan, we have our own piece of news.
Yes, we do.
This is a special announcement.
It is.
This is a special announcement from In-Flight Movies themselves. If you seem to have missed one of our flights one week, say, for example, you were dying to hear what we thought about Dune, or Halloween Kills, or Dear Evan Hansen, for say. If any of those films sound like ones you want to hear our thoughts on but missed that week's show, you are in luck. In-Flight Movies is now officially available on YouTube.
Yes, we are.
We now have our very own YouTube channel.
Yes. Just simply In-Flight Movies.
Simply In-Flight Movies.
As it's called on Twitter, as our show
Same
is.
logo that you can find on our Twitter. It's is there on YouTube. This is a brand new channel, and we're going to be uploading our shows onto there. Music removed, of course. You're probably listening to the show now on YouTube.
Maybe. That's very strange to think about
it's kind of weird that I'm talking to you from the past.
About this.
Exact thing that you're doing right now. So, for example, this show has been being broadcast live on the 22nd of November 2021, but it could be whenever for you right now listening to this show. There is currently one show up.
Yes.
From what day was that show?
It was the final Monday in October, actually. Really? So it's like a month ago by this point.
A month ago.
25th, I believe.
The 25th.
Might have been
sometime?
25th.
Probably around that time. But that show is now up and available to listen to. That's episode 1 on our YouTube channel. Simply in-flight-movies. In-flight movies. My apologies. In-flight movies.
After we've done all the news and we're playing the next song, I will
post a
tweet.
link on our Twitter.
Yeah, I'll put the link up.
Link will be available on our Twitter. And we'll probably overtake the website link that we have available on the Twitter just now, which leads you to shmoo.org, which is where you're able to listen live to the show online. However, we have those links available on our YouTube as well, so we'll probably just work some magic there.
Yes.
But our shows are now available for free on YouTube to listen to at any time.
And we've also edited our individual reviews.
Exactly. Yes,
with
we have
the show. So if you're looking for a specific, quick cut, our opinions on something, then they're there as well.
So, for example, currently uploaded on the YouTube channel, we have the full show of in-flight movies from about a month ago, as well as individual reviews of Halloween Kills, Dear Evan Hansen, and Dune.
Yes.
All available for you to listen to now. You can thank the lovely Ryan for all this. The man is surprisingly very tech-savvy. And has managed to conjure up this entire thing. So good for him. Good on him.
Thank you very much.
I'm bloody useless.
No, absolutely not. You're the captain. After
I'm the I'm the captain. I do the show, but Ryan is the one who works behind the scenes. He is the monkey cranking that wrench, getting everything done. So you can thank him for all this lovely stuff.
Yes. In time, we will get more and all of our shows after that one, the Dune episode. They will be up, and fairly soon we will be up to date, let's say. So, and hopefully I'm thinking that we'll probably upload our edited shows maybe, let's say, by a Wednesday or so.
Wednesday sounds like a good upload day to me. But yeah, it's awesome that these are now available.
Everything updated when things change, when things happen. But as of right now, that's the big announcement. And
it's a big announcement.
I think it's very exciting.
It is. It's very exciting. It's just our first step into the fray of actually being a podcast and not just a live broadcast radio show. So yeah, this is fantastic. I'm personally very happy, and thank you for listening. If you are listening on our YouTube,
absolutely,
you can subscribe, hit the bell icon. I can tell you to do that now because I'm on the YouTubes, aren't I?
You are on the YouTubes.
Oh my PewDiePie.
Exactly.
We're gonna
other YouTubers.
Other YouTubers are available.
Anyway, that was our news. Now on to
that was our news.
All the other.
Here's
news.
the movie news for this week. This first one, an absolute doozy. Everyone's favorite Australian, Mel Gibson, is set to direct Lethal Weapon 5.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah. Well, who really asked for this?
I certainly didn't.
To be honest, like the Lethal Weapon franchise, first Lethal Weapon. I will not say anything bad about first Lethal Weapon. It's great. It's a brilliant film. The sequels, however, hit and miss. I do like them, but they're not great films. And it's been, God, it must be over 25 years at this point.
Since Lethal Weapon 4.
So it's getting on a bit. And the funniest thing to me right now is that in Lethal Weapon 1, Danny Glover said that he was too old for that, Now he's really too old for that, Like, who's asked for this? Certainly not Danny Glover.
Well, what I find incredibly ridiculous is that they would even think to actually do this.
Yes.
When the cast of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia already did an episode on this.
I've heard so many people say
this is so Always Sunny in Philadelphia has an episode called Lethal Weapon 5, in which they just make Lethal Weapon 5 canon, a canonical version of Lethal Weapon 5, which is equally hilarious but also incredibly insensitive as some of the characters do blackface.
Oh God,
it's quite extreme. However, it is hilarious to watch. And a lot of people are pointing at this as like a bit of a joke, saying, well, why are they doing that? They already did this. But I think this is quite funny that Lethal Weapon 5 is happening with Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson's not a good person at all.
No,
not a good person at all. We don't like him as a director. He is a very strong director. Hacksaw Ridge and Apocalypto and Passion of the Christ, even, like, these are very strong films. I don't really know what he could bring to the table directing wise for Lethal Weapon 5. It feels very just, why? This isn't going to, like, aid anyone.
No.
This feels very like vanity, like project type. But I think it's only going to HBO Max. I don't think it's getting a theatrical release. So far.
Ain't that a shame?
So
ain't that I'm upset about
yes.
that. I'm very upset about that. In a bit of unmovie news, Xbox, if you play your Xbox quite a lot, you most likely have Game Pass or something like that, but you'll be glad to know that Xbox's backwards compatibility is expanding.
Yes.
And is now going to be available with 67...
Nope, other way around.
I'm flipping it. They're adding 76 brand new titles to Xbox backwards compatibility. That'll be games from the Xbox 360 and the original Xbox.
Yeah, this is... I put this down in the news because I'm really quite excited for this. Xbox, the backwards compatibility feature, I think is genuinely one of the best features for Xbox, and I feel like every what do you call it? Every console really should have that availability.
Yes.
And it's kind of bittersweet that this 76 titles are the final ones to get a backwards compatibility. So, for instance, some absolute classics.
Chicken Little.
Well, Chicken Little is coming. Yes, that is the biggest.
That's all you need to hear.
50 Cent, one of his games is coming.
No way.
Yeah,
That's
I can't remember which one.
I was wrong. I've been proven wrong.
But in reality, like all of the Max Payne franchises you can now play them on your Xbox.
Epic.
Same with Fear. The only Resident Evil which was not backwards compatibility so far is now backwards compatibility.
Ryan is grinning ear to ear.
Yes.
I can see it.
It's the worst Resident Evil as well. It's not a good game, but the fact that it is backwards
Which one's
compatibility.
that?
Operation Raccoon City.
Yeah,
exactly. You don't even know what it is.
If you look closely, you can see that going over my head.
Yeah. But that is fun. I really appreciate the fact that there's all these titles now, but it just means because there's no more, we're not going to get classics like. Oh, by the way, also Lego Lord of the Rings. You can now play that.
Oh, I did see that. That is a big thing because Lego Lord of the Rings was
an incredible game.
I've never played it.
Oh, it was brilliant.
I know.
It was so much.
Now
fun.
that I've seen the films properly.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I'll have to.
But we will not get X-Men Origins Wolverine. That will not become backwards compatibility. Sad days. Unfortunately, The Godfather also not there.
No!
I know all these beautiful movie tie-ins. We're never going to get them.
At least tell me the Sopranos game is coming back.
Absolutely not.
No!
The Gabagool is not going to be there.
I can't bada bing where I like. In other news, heaps is Ryan's exact words. Heaps coming back for a Harry Potter special on the 1st of January. Happy New Year. 2022 starts with a bang for every white woman in her mid-30s. Harry Potter. Oh, more Harry Potter content. Ryan, what house are you?
I actually don't know.
Oh.
Do you know? Do you know what house you are?
I think I'm a Gryffindor.
I think that I'm like Hufflepuff.
Yeah, you strike me. You strike me as a Hufflepuff.
I don't know the characteristics of them.
You are a Gemini after all.
Oh, I am a Gemini, yes.
You are a Gemini.
But after it's on HBO Max as well, this.
Of course.
So, Plummet, we might not get any of these things.
I ain't exactly crying over it. As much as I enjoy Harry Potter, I do like Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a good few of them last year recently. And I still enjoy them. They're still good films. They're fun, but I don't know. This
is just going to be the Friends reunion again. It's not going to. It's just going to be an interview.
Yeah, pretty much.
And where it's fun to see all the characters again.
Give us a Lord of the Rings one.
Yeah, I'd much rather watch that.
At least Lord of the Rings is still getting good new content.
Yeah.
With a new show from Amazon coming soon.
Exactly.
Excitement. Greta Gerwig, everyone's favourite woman, has written the screenplay for Snow White.
Yeah, this is quite surprising.
Yeah, so Disney, in their true Disney We Want Money fashion, are continuing to remake their animated classics, and of course they're going right the way back and doing Snow White. Mm-hmm. Pretty obvious, but how well are they going to do it? I don't know. I watched Snow White for the first time properly somewhat recently. Boring film.
Really?
Quite a boring film.
I haven't watched Snow White in a very many years.
Nothing happens.
But I remember enjoying it somewhat.
The dwarves are great.
Yeah.
That's why everyone remembers them. Snow White is a character. I couldn't care less. And there's maybe one really good song, and then the rest of them is just kind of meh. But it's their first film, so everyone remembers it as a classic.
And I feel like this is 1930s film. The animation for a 1930s film, I feel like it's beautiful.
Oh God, yes,
it's a technical masterpiece.
There's absolutely no denying that. But in terms of doing remakes, I don't know. Will they take a Dumbo approach? The Dumbo remake was very different to the original. Will they be doing that? Who knows?
I feel like Greta Gerwig would have a little bit of a say in how, if she was writing this thing, I feel like she would have a say in like where she takes the story.
Yes.
Especially considering Snow White as a character, from my memory, is kind of like a woman that is saved by Prince Charming. You know what I mean? It's like that is the main crux of the story, that she bites an apple, goes comatose, and then needs Prince Charming to save her.
Gets an unconsensual kiss from Prince Charming.
Exactly.
So
I feel like Greta Gerwig would change that up and actually make a Snow White film that is a little bit more, that's more better, let's say.
More better.
More better. That is exactly how I'm going with it.
We love good grammars in here. The only two casts, see, even out, it's contagious. The only two castings we have for the film so far are Gal Gadot as the evil queen, who I wrongfully called Maleficent while I was outside of the studio, because I don't care. And Rachel Zegler, who is playing Snow White, who is actually playing Maria in the new West Side Story.
Yeah.
So good for her. I'm proud.
Absolutely.
That's two pretty massive roles within a very short amount of time.
Yes.
And as a very, very quick rolling back around to Mel Gibson for just a slight second here. So while you were talking, I went on IMDb and had a quick gander, a quick ponder just to see what was going on. Are you aware that there's a sequel to Passion of the Christ happening?
Yes, I have heard this, yeah. Passion of the Christ 2 Electric Boogaloo.
It's
even more passionate.
More faith.
Yeah.
This is the Passion of the Christ Resurrection.
Oh.
Why? Why are you doing that?
That's been in development for God knows how many years.
It says it's currently in pre-production, release for 2022, it says.
I doubt it. I highly doubt it. There's no way that he's doing Lethal Weapon 5 and Passion of the Christ 2 in 1 year. No way.
Yeah, 19th of September, there was a piece of news coming out saying that it's still happening, and someone called it the biggest film in the history of the world.
Oh, of course.
We'll see about
Mel
that.
Gibson himself.
We'll see about that, Mel. We'll see about that. In other news, Tarantino. Oh.
This news story is...
This is wild.
This is a sign of the times if there ever was one.
Tarantino's done an who expected that? He's being sued by Miramax Entertainment. Why? Over Pulp Fiction NFTs.
Now, Glenn, explain what NFTs are.
NFTs are non-fungible tokens, also known as images and videos that you can that you can own online.
Yes.
So, let's say, for example, I Googled an image of a cheeseburger on Google, and the image came up, and the image was of a cheeseburger. Theoretically now, you could buy that image of a cheeseburger for however much money and own it. And now you own, in a way, the copyright of that image as well. And so now you can be sued if you wrongfully use that image. NFTs are being used for artists to create images and then sell them off as NFTs. People use them as their profile pictures or just keep them for money. Or actually use them as investments.
Yes.
For example, buy an NFT at a very low price, wait for it to go up and sell their NFT. Oh, pardon me. It's essentially... Pardon me. Classic. It's essentially like a online image stock market.
Yeah.
And is the stupidest thing I have ever heard.
It's bonkers.
Absolutely ridiculous. People are now talking about NFTs. People selling albums as NFTs. Sorry, that's what a CD is.
Yeah.
That is
iTunes library.
That's iTunes. What are you doing? We're going around in time is a flat circle at this point. It's like the world's worst art gallery.
Yes.
And why are you doing this? I can save the image as I like. What? It doesn't make sense to me. NFTs are stupid, and of course Tarantino, being the man he is, decided he would get himself involved.
Hop on the bandwagon,
and is apparently been doing Pulp Fiction NFTs. I'm unaware of if these are like images or if these are clips.
From what I remember, it's deleted scenes that have never been shared before,
and he was selling them.
Well, it's kind of like an auction, I believe. It's like a bidding war.
Jesus.
So that you can buy these scenes. I think there's 7 of them in total. Not a lot. 7 NFTs.
It's stupid.
and
It's
it's
just
Pulp
stupid.
Fiction deleted scenes.
It's just stupid. Of course Tarantino will get himself involved.
And I love the fact that Miramax are just like, hold on a minute,
Had
we own this.
a bus. What's going on here?
Yeah,
What's
that's
going on?
our NFTs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. In other investment news, Tom Holland wants to be a landlord, but also wants to be Bond.
Yes.
Now, I would hate it if Tom Holland was Bond.
Absolutely.
I would
100%.
I would kill him. I would not. I was joking. Maybe I'm not. I was joking. Tom Holland wants to be a landlord. This comes about as in a recent interview, I believe GQ.
GQ, yeah.
In a recent GQ interview, he was on the cover and whatnot. Being a pretty boy as he is. And he did an interview and talked about his plans and life plans after he finishes Spider-Man. He says that he does not want to be playing Spider-Man for the 20-odd years as much as he enjoys his character.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Because that's just a bank.
That is a bank.
Right there.
He's done three films and a couple others, and he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. You can give it to someone else now. So he says that he doesn't want to be doing that, but says that he might not act for the rest of his life. Entirely fair. And says that one of the things he wants to do is become a landlord, buy flats and become a landlord and sell them off for cheaper prices so people can afford housing.
Yeah,
Good on
because
him,
he doesn't need the money.
Because he doesn't need the money. He
Yeah.
literally said those exact words in his
And
GQ
what, he's
interview.
just in his 20s?
He's in like
He's already figured out his 80-year-old life goals.
Well, if you were a millionaire, you would too.
That's very true. It's
So
very true.
I give full big ups and respect to Tom Holland for that.
But then we heard that he was wanting to play Bond, and we just lost it
and
all
we
again.
lost it all. No, thank you. Make up your mind.
Yeah.
I'd say go into housing.
Yes.
Martin Scorsese, everyone's favorite Italian. Is he Italian? Oh,
Yes, I feel like, yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like that's a stupid question.
Yeah, yeah.
If he's not Italian, he's at least Italian American. He
Yes,
must be.
yes.
Is set to direct a direct.
There we go. There we go.
Let me read this. Martin Scorsese is set to direct a Grateful Dead biopic for Apple.
Yes.
For Apple TV.
Apple TV, yes.
What is-
Along with like the Flowers of the Killing Moon, which is also an Apple TV production,
Really?
I believe. So
Better
yeah,
versions than that.
like remember Irishman was Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just said no, I'm never doing Netflix again, and now he's got two Apple
Apple
TV.
probably gave him more money.
Yes. Well, he's Martin Scorsese. You give Martin
it's
Scorsese
Marty.
all the money that he
Come
wants.
on.
Yeah,
You do what he says.
exactly.
You do what he says. What is the Grateful Dead?
It's a band. It's a rock band from the 70s, and I believe Jonah Hill is playing one of them.
What?
Yeah, Jonah Hill's cast in it. So, like, Jonah Hill was in Wolf of Wall Street, which Scorsese did as well.
Oh,
And that's a
yes.
brilliant performance from Hill in that film. So, this is just setting up to be another great
Yes.
Scorsese film.
Jonah Hill and Jerry Garcia
Well, there you go.
are set to star in the Martin Scorsese directed film. I love that Marty is still directing films.
Mm-hmm.
The man is still going at it, and I think he will until the day he dies.
Yes.
Which I completely respect. How old is he now? I'm Googling.
Oh, he's very, yeah.
Take a guess at how old Marty is.
82.
Oh, it's 3 years out. He's 79.
Oh, okay.
He's still
Close,
doing well for himself.
But yeah, well, The Irishman was an absolutely incredible film.
It was really good.
And if these next two films that he's got in the pipeline are anything as good as The Irishman, then he hasn't lost one bit of his touch. Like, these are still like films of the years, you know. They make you excited for cinema when you see a new Martin Scorsese film. So yes, it's good news.
Fun thing to do if you're someone who likes annoying people. Whenever someone mentions Martin Scorsese, go, "Oh yeah, the guy from Shark Tale."
Shark Tale, yeah.
As it's a fun way to annoy people.
Yes.
Netflix, Red Notice, 2 and 3 back to back have been announced.
Kill me now.
Yep, we're dead.
Yes.
In other news, trailers. There's been 3 big trailers that have been released this week. Spider-Man, No Way Home.
Final trailer.
Give me your best Defoe.
No.
What? Give me your best Willem.
How would I even go about that? Let me. Peter. Peter.
Oh, that was worth it.
That was beautiful.
That was worth pressuring you into.
Yeah.
New trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, probably the biggest film of the end of this year.
Probably. I wish it was Matrix,
Oh,
but let's
God, I
face
wish
it,
it was Matrix.
Spider-Man is definitely the one.
Spider-Man No Way Home. Last Marvel film for this year, before we get bombarded by Marvel products next year.
I know. This is the calm before the storm, and it's not even that calm.
It's really not that calm at all. The trailer shows off a bit more of Spider-Man, a bit more of the villains. We get more looks at Doc Ock, more looks at Green Goblin, Sandman, Electro, and Lizard. That's 5. If you notice, we need another one to complete the Sinister Sticks.
Yeah, the
Sinister Sticks. The Sinister Six. Who will that be? But probably Venom.
Yeah.
Judging by the end credits of Venom Let There Be Carnage. Don't care if that's a spoiler. It's been a month. Go see it. Actually, don't go see it.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, it was a trailer, and I still think it looks good, and I'm still excited. A lot of people are still speculating if Toby and Andrew are going to be in the film. I think they will.
Yeah.
Only for a little bit, not a major role. I also am still convinced that Charlie Cox is in it as well as Daredevil. There were leaks that were somewhat recent that were pretty convincing. And there was a leak a while ago of Andrew Garfield saying a line on scaffolding with a blue screen behind him, and a lot of people were like, "Nah, that's fake." But we can see from the final fight, or at least what looks to be the final fight of the film, it's on scaffolding.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. All signs point to yes, in a way, with this trailer. So
I am somewhat excited. But
I'm definitely going to be seeing it midnight.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
But there is a part of me that's just like, I kind of want it over with. I don't know why.
I think it's been a drawn out hype period.
Yeah,
it's been a really drawn out hype period. That's all. So it but I think it'll be bittersweet when it eventually arrives.
Yes.
Other trailers: Don't Look Up, brand new Adam McKay film starring let me think. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yep.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Meryl Streep.
Jonah Hill. And
Tyler Perry, I believe,
Perry's
in it.
Someone else is in it that I know.
There's heaps of people. Oh, Timothée Chalamet is in it. Ariana Grande
and Timothée Chalamet.
There we go.
Heaps
more as well.
Heaps more. New film from Adam McKay, Big Short, Vice.
Big Short. Oh, you said it.
Those words came out of my mouth, boy. Those words came out of my mouth.
Oh,
you're drunk.
Yeah.
If you saw Vice, then you'll know his Adam McKay's filmmaking style is quite unique. It's oddly documentary, but or at least Vice was. It's quite comedic while being also quite serious with its drama tones. This film looks to be quite comedic, and has a very tongue-in-cheek kind of feel to it. It's the way the trailer is set out is that it's based on a real story that hasn't happened yet. Essentially, a comet is coming down to Earth
that could destroy
the Earth, Armageddon style, and then these two scientists are trying to convince everyone the world is ending, but nobody's taking it seriously.
Yeah,
that's the crux of the film.
I actually do think that's an ingenious plot for Adam McKay, because Big Short is a brilliant film about something that happened. Vice is divisive, but you said that joke outside.
I did.
I didn't want to steal it, but I said that not as a joke.
Because the film's called Vice, and the word Vice is in divisive.
But it's divisive, but it's
because
still
the word.
it's still a good attempt at telling a story that's happened. This is something that hasn't happened yet, but he will probably treat with the exact same paintbrush as he has done his previous films. And I think that's an ingenious idea.
It is a very smart idea, and I think I'm looking forward to this.
Especially with everything that's happened recently because of climate change.
Oh, yeah.
And this is, I feel like this might be very impactful.
Very tongue-in-cheek. I can see it probably having quite a big impact. Get it? Because it's an asteroid. I'm funny. We also got a first look at Pam and Tommy, the brand new Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee slight biopic retelling story about the two of them and the release of their naughty tapes.
Yes.
It's a series. I didn't know it was a series. Available on Hulu.
So I don't know where we'll get it.
I don't know where we're getting it, but
it's surprisingly really quite. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too. It's got Nick Offerman and Seth Rogen.
Looking very good.
Seth Rogen's looking real good.
Yeah.
Side note on a side
Sidebar.
A side quest on Seth Rogen here. If you follow him on Twitter or Instagram, there was a recent video he put up teaching you how to use his custom made I guess it's like a weed table, in which it comes with like a grinder and a holder and like an ashtray and stuff. Watching this man, I've never partaken in illegal drugs myself, so I've never experienced the devil's lettuce nor the rolling experience that comes with it. But there are enough people on Twitter to tell me that the way that this man did this, the entire video is him teaching you how to use it and rolling a blunt in under a minute.
Well then,
which even I know is impressive. It's very impressive.
He's also like a dab hand at like
pottery.
Yeah.
His vases are gorgeous.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would highly recommend Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen's
if you have
absolutely incredible.
Instagram or Twitter. The man's good man.
Yeah.
Good man.
But yeah, it looks really good, and Lily James and Sebastian Stan look really good.
Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee, respectively. Yeah, they look really good.
They look really
good. Too good, almost. I think the Sebastian Stans of the world will be very happy.
Oh, well done.
Thank you. And and Lily James.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's go on.
Let's move on. Let's play some music. We talked too long. This is not what's currently playing. This is California Dreamin' by Bobby Womack. When you come back, we will be diving into King Richard and going on about that. We'll see you in a bit. You're gonna laugh?
No.
You're looking at me like you're gonna
laugh. No. Perfect. Beautiful.
Yes, California Dreamin' by Bobby Womack there. Let's dig in. King Richard, brand new 2021 release. Directed by Reynaldo Marcus Green. Previous director of lots of TV shows and Monsters and Men, which neither of us have seen.
No, unfortunately not.
So this is my first foray into this director, written by a guy named Zach Balin. This is his first feature screenplay ever.
It's impressive.
It's impressive. If you look on IMDb at his profile, he has been an art director for a number of films. I think he has 9 credits on those. However, if you look in his writing, he only has 3 credits, 2 of which are ongoing, one of which is released, that released one being King Richard. One of those ongoing ones being Creed 3.
Yes, exciting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. The film is starring Will Smith, the Fresh Prince himself, as Richard Smith.
No, Richard Williams.
I wrote the word Smith. I wrote Richard Smith.
King Smith.
Yeah. That's his next film. It's a biopic. Mm-hmm. Richard Williams.
That's just his book that he released. That's King Smith.
Richard Williams, the title character of the film King Richard. Anwane Ellis as Brandy Williams, his wife. We also have Sania Sidney as Venus Williams, Demi Singleton as Serena Williams, John Bernthal, everyone's favorite Punisher, as Rick Macy, and Tony Goldwyn as Paul Cohen. This film is about the story of Richard Williams as he trains and mentors Venus and Serena Williams throughout their formative years around the ages of, I believe it's set over the course of 3 years. From when they were 9 and 12 respectively up until they are 11 or 12 and 14, something around that.
Very young.
Something around that, but it's very young, very formative years. And looking into more so the story of Richard Williams rather than just a biopic focusing on Serena and Venus, which is probably the most interesting thing this film does.
It's an interesting take, however, I still have my reservations about that as well. But, I'll start it off right away. It's a well-made, well-acted, well-shot. Everything in this film is good. Good
as in the baseline good.
I would say that it is decent. However, I think the most problems I have with it come from the screenplay and the fact that this just feels like another run-of-the-mill sports biopic. And we have a sports biopic at least like once every year. And like, I believe there was, I think it was called Battle of the Sexes, and it came out like a few years ago. It was Steve Carell and Emma Stone.
Yes.
And it's exactly the same formation of a story. It starts that way, it ends this way, and it goes through the exact same emotions. Even to a push Eddie the Eagle. Eddie the Eagle is a fun, like, throw-on. I'd even say, like, it feels like an Easter celebration film, even though it has nothing to do with Easter. It just has that feel to it.
Yeah.
But as a story, it's exactly the same as as King Richard as well. And for that reason, I do think that all of the brilliant acting, all of the brilliant ways that it goes about trying to tell a story about Richard Williams, it falters ever so slightly by being just so pedestrian.
Yeah, I think I disliked the film slightly more than you did. But I find myself doing that with a lot of films we've seen. I am a bit more cynical than you are when it comes to this kind of thing. I did find the film incredibly generic. I think it starts generic and ends generic. It's like a fade to scene voiceover. Follow person here, go here, do this. Like you said, it's well shot, it's well acted, it looks good, but there's no style to it. There's no substance. You need more for a film like this in order for it to stand out from the crowd or draw me in or keep me invested. Now, that's not to say I wasn't invested. I was. The story is good enough, like you said. The acting is good enough that it does keep you invested, and it is worth a watch. However, it's so lacking in style and substance that I find myself really yearning for more. Really yearning for more. Problems with the screenplay are there. However, it's a first-timer. I don't think they should have gotten a first-timer for the story.
No, yes, I completely agree with that.
They should not have at all. Another thing to mention is that Zach Palin is in fact a white male.
Yes.
Now, I know some of you may think that doesn't account for anything and shouldn't be mentioned. However, this is a film about young black women and their impact on other young black women when seen on television and within the sporting industry.
Not even that. There's sub-themes in this that are very strong within, I'd say, the first half of the film, and then for some reason they kind of disappear, but it deals with Richard Williams and the life of living poverty in those streets and gang violence and all these things. There is those themes, and they're strong to start with, but I never feel like they continue on.
Fade. They do really fade. They fade. I think they fade going into more. As they fade, they disappear within Richard Williams and more so focus on Venus and Serena. Venus more than Serena.
It's a bit like, where's Serena?
It does go a bit one-sided, but Serena does get a few more scenes near the end of the film. But that it is a problem. This should be a film about representation within the sporting industry for black people, and that exists within maybe the first half of this film, but like you said, come the second half, it kind of disappears a bit. It doesn't really become much of a thing aside from one or two scenes.
There is scenes, conversations even, in which points are driven home that relate to, without spoiling anything, but there are conversations, and those conversations are the best moments in the film. It's not the tennis scenes, it's not the family dynamic or the fun or it's none of that stuff. It's the conversations, but it's the fact that there's so little of them. I feel that it's quite disappointing.
There's so little of them, and at times you feel like they're almost not being taken seriously. For example, there's one particular scene in which Will Smith is talking to I believe it's three people. Two people are representatives from one company who are trying to sponsor, I believe it's Venus, and there's his coach. Venus's coach is there with Richard Williams, and there's this scene, and Richard is being himself within the scene and is deflecting them, saying like, "Oh no, you only want her because she's a young black girl." You're saying all these stuff when
it's a really good scene.
It's a really good scene. It's really well done. And then for absolutely no reason or conceivable notion whatsoever, there is a very loud, obvious, and obnoxious fart noise.
Yeah,
which is supposed to be played off as a joke in a scene that doesn't need a fart noise or joke.
No, and
is just absolutely ridiculous, and I laughed out loud, not because it was funny, but because I found it's
so ill-judged.
Because it's so ill-judged. It doesn't make sense. That happens again, but I can't remember where in the film where something else happens like that, and I'm like, what's going on? Why are you doing this? Are you it feels like they're trying to make a comedy suddenly out of nothing, when the film is in no way a comedy at all. Well, I mean, according to one of the people in our audience, it certainly was.
Oh yeah, there was someone that was howling. They loved it.
They loved that film.
Yes. So maybe it is just us. Maybe we are cynical.
What did we miss?
Yes.
What did we miss?
But as you said at the beginning, the fact that it takes on the perspective of Richard Williams more so than Serena or Venus, that's an interesting take for a sports biopic. And I don't feel that we've seen that often when it's more so the coach or like the higher up rather than the actual celebrity. But in saying that, the actual Richard Williams stuff, I feel like they don't go into it hard enough. Richard Williams as a man, I would say that his way about of doing this, supposedly before Serena and Venus, Serena and Venus, before they were born, Richard created a 70 page document that was the plan of their life.
Yeah.
Now, for some, I would imagine that this is absolutely not a good part of parenting whatsoever. And some of the methods that he takes, like making them play out in the rain, like tennis in full-on pelting rain, certain scenes in this provide an idea that, oh well, is there something a bit negative with his way of bringing up children? And the only mention of that little way in the film is yet again one conversation.
Yeah.
And I feel like there needed to be a little bit more of that questionable nature of, is this a good thing? Was this a good thing? And then allow that to go over your audience and allow them to make their own decisions. Yes. But then even when it becomes a Venus Williams film near the end, I feel like it's much better.
Yeah, which is funny. It really picks up in that final third act.
Yeah.
Not only from some really, really good performances by Will Smith and Owane Ellis, who have a fantastic scene together within their house, but the relationship between Richard and Venus becomes a lot more complicated and a lot more engaging to watch, and we get a lot more interesting scenes. And it becomes a better watch, but not in any way enough to save this film from absolute generacy.
Yeah.
And everything is pre-planned, everything's explained, everything, you know what's coming. It's long. It felt long, at least. Maybe dragged a little long in the tooth in some places and too short in tooth in other places. Scenes sometimes feel like they don't go on long enough. Sometimes they go on too long. I don't know if it's messy or if this was all intentional, but it doesn't feel intentional.
No.
It feels very much that something happened within the production of this film.
Sometimes it feels like a checklist.
It does.
It feels like there's a checklist, and it's like, well, we need to include all these gimmicks and all of these cliches of a sports film in somewhere, and then it goes through the motions.
Yeah.
And it just checks them off, and then by the time that's checked off, you never see that little part again.
Yeah.
And it just goes through the motions. Even the actual tennis sequences, which I actually do think are quite fun, the watching the tennis sequences. But they go through the exact same emotions that you would find in any sports biopic as well. There's nothing really that feels different or unique about them as its own. Like I said, Battle of the Sexes came out a few years ago, and the tennis match in that, it feels exactly the same as the tennis match in this film. Yeah. And I would have liked a little bit more of a just something to make it personal.
I would have
to make it unique.
Yeah, it feels too generic for what they're doing. It feels like
because
they
it's
should have been
such
doing
a
more.
great story as well.
It is
a really interesting.
It's worth
and
seeing for
story.
the story alone, which I can't say about many films. But learning about Venus and Serena was really interesting.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a shame that it falters in some places. I wouldn't like it to get much attention at the Oscars. I don't feel it deserves it, even having seen not that many great films this year.
Will Smith is excellent in the film.
He is.
I think this is his best performance since maybe Pursuit of Happiness. So it's been a while coming. Yeah. But like we said, it's just the film as a whole. It just doesn't go for the impact as much.
It's of course at the very end of this film, as any sports biopic does, you get a montage of Venus and Serena in real life, and that montage of them over music is probably one of the best edited and best stylized sequences of the whole film, and it's at the end.
I fully agree.
That style,
along with Beyonce's song, which I actually think Beyonce's song is really well made. I think it's a good song.
You heard it earlier if you're listening live. So, I don't know. It's weird. I don't really get what was going on with this film.
No.
And it's very generic. It will disappear in my mind probably quite soon. And, yeah, I can't see it getting... I can see it maybe getting some attention at the Oscars for the sake of... Nomination ways, yes. But I wouldn't expect it to win anything. And if it does, I will be quite surprised.
Yes.
But that's King Richard. If you get the chance, go see it. There's not much else in this week. Coming up, there's a lot of stuff which we'll get into later in the show. But as of just now, pretty slim pickings. So we're going to play some music and then play the news. And then when we come back, we will be going into Rocky 4.
Oh, exciting.
Rocky 4. Ryan's very excited for this one, I can tell. So we'll play you the training montage by Vince DiCola from the original soundtrack to Rocky 4. And we'll see you in a little bit, if it'll play.
Folks, so hurry, hurry, hurry. Step right over to our refreshment center for the most extravagant array of refreshment goodies ever assembled under one roof. Enjoy breathtaking, mouth-watering goodies, everything from a snack to a delicious full meal. At our refreshment center, you'll find a large variety of goodies to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, or your sweet tooth. So hurry, hurry, hurry. Visit our refreshment center now. The show starts in 10 minutes.
And now, on with the show.
Here on In-Flight Movies, this is Shmoo 99.8 FM. My name is Glenn. I'm your captain this evening. We're already halfway through our flight. An hour left of the show to go. My co-pilot Ryan sitting to my left.
As always, still here.
Diagonal left in front of me.
Yes.
I would say northwest.
Sure.
Is west left or is east left?
West.
You sure?
I think never eat shredded wheat. Clockwise formation.
Never eat shredded wheat. You're correct.
Yeah.
You're correct. Rocky 4. It's Rocky 4 time. We're going to be speaking about Rocky 4.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Say Rocky 4 again.
Rocky 4.
There we go. This is a re-release. No, let me rephrase that. A re-edit of the film from Sylvester Stallone himself.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, Sylvester. Come on. Treating us. For the past year of a lockdown, Sylvester Stallone has been editing Rocky 4, which was provided to him by MGM Studios. And he's been working on this for about a year, very passionate about the project, and we were lucky enough to see it in the cinema on Saturday night, as well as a very small Q&A with Sylvester Stallone himself, talking about the process of this film, his history with Rocky, where it's going to go from there. And yeah, the whole experience was really nice. This was my first time seeing a Rocky film.
I'm very, very intrigued to find out how you experienced Rocky 4 for the first time.
As someone who has only ever seen Creed and Creed 2, those have been the only Rocky films I've seen. I've never seen Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Balboa.
There we go.
Haven't seen them, right? So I knew what to expect. I knew it was going to be cheesy. I knew it was going to be campy. You hype this film up all the time.
It's
to me.
one of my absolute favorite films.
You hype this up to me all the time. And so I was expecting montages. I was expecting epic fights. I was expecting great music, and I got all that.
Yes.
My main takeaways from this film is incredibly cheesy and campy. The way that everybody speaks is so heroic, and everybody has to have at least one awesome line.
Yeah.
Ivan Drago in it is just this big, hulking, bulky Russian guy. I love some of his lines. I love the "if he dies, he dies."
It's brilliant.
Oh, it's so cool.
Classic.
It's so cool but cheesy.
My
I love
absolute
it.
favorite line from this film is Apollo Creed when they're doing the press junket for the first fight. And Apollo Creed just comes out and says, well, you know, some people gotta learn the hard way. I'm like, oh, it's beautiful. It is absolutely incredible.
This film is chock full of quotable lines and just ridiculously funny scenes. So the re-edited version removes a lot from the original film. We'll get into that later. I'll allow you to take that home. The hold on that. But the main thing that really struck me in this film, it's short, but oh my god, it flies by.
Yeah.
Completely whizzed by me. I remember they're getting into the fight against Rocky and Drago,
yeah.
And I literally turned to you and was like, yo, is this the last fight? And you went, yeah, this is the final fight. I went, what? I was expecting there to be way more. But it just whizzes by, doesn't waste any time. Everybody's so wet.
Yeah.
Everyone is so wet in this film.
The sweat is dripping off of brows.
I swear the humidity in that ring, just that ring, that single box ring, the humidity in there must be killer, because they take one step in there and they are drenched in sweat. They've not done a thing. They've jumped about a few times and they're absolutely dripping because they need that water going poof whenever the punches hit.
Oh, but it's so good when
it
you see
is so good in slow-mo. It's awesome. All the fights are really cool. The fight against Drago and Creed it hits you out of nowhere, because before this final fight they have this whole big showy kind of thing, and Carl Weathers is in this America outfit with a hat, and they're in Vegas, and living in America is playing with James Brown, and James Brown is giving it his all and singing and stuff, and it's so fun. You're like, this is just the cheesiest thing ever.
It's exactly what Apollo Creed character is doing in that in that time. It's showmanship to its absolute best.
It's crazy. And then he gets in the ring, and then Drago just goes doosh, and he dies. And you're like, what? Oh, what's going on?
And this is like very early into the movie.
This is very early into the film. Like Carl Weathers gets like 1 or 2 scenes, and then he's dead. And you're like, oh my god. And then suddenly Rocky's like manically driving home while listening, there's no easy way out. And
that is a beautiful scene.
It's a gorgeous scene to see him just like furiously driving while this is playing. And then he goes to Russia, gets put in like a little snow hut, and he's like, I gotta train. And then goes and has an epic training montage, climbs up a mountain, does the whole thing. And then they're like, right, fight time. And then he goes and he goes and fights.
It's never stopping.
Waste no time at all. Everything is just here chock full.
This, honestly, I think this is the blueprint to what people said that Venom 2 was. People complimented Venom 2 by the idea of them saying, oh well, it might be cheesy, it might be a heap of rubbish, but at least it's 90 minutes and it goes by a clip. But no, Venom 2 goes
dragged
by a clip, fair enough, because it's only 90 minutes long. But it is so boring and just not funny at all. Rocky 4 takes its runtime and is like, right, okay, we'll give it a little bit of setup, and then we will waste no time at all in giving you just overload for the senses. If it's not a music montage, then it is a fight scene, and if it's not a fight scene, then it is him absolutely just training, just
like a madman.
Exactly, it is insanity what he does in this film.
It's crazy.
I love it. There's a moment. It's between actually the training montage song that we played before. At the end of our first hour, between that and the it's Hearts on Fire montage,
which is going to be played very soon.
There is one singular scene where Rocky meets up with Adrian, and it lasts for maybe about a minute at most, and that is your break between montage and montage. And I'm like, you know exactly what you're doing here. There's
no time at all. Right, so because this film is a recut of the original 1985 release, a lot's been done to change it.
Yes.
I want you to take the helm on this. Okay. As someone who's seen the original and has seen the recut, I want you to just give it your all. Please explain.
Well, okay, so for me, I'll start this off by saying, for me, I think that I may prefer the original even though the original has a lot of cheesy and, like, at this moment in time, absolutely rubbish qualities. The robot, which Sylvester Stallone will consistently reference every time he talks about Rocky IV.
Yeah.
The robot in Rocky IV, I do not know what was happening, what they were thinking, but there is an undeniable quality to the cheesiness, to the rubbishness that is included in Rocky IV that makes it so just joyous to watch. I love the robot. It's rubbish, but I absolutely love the robot in this. And so for that reason, I think that I prefer the original cut. However, that is not to say that this director's cut is not worth it, because there are certain things in here that I think are absolutely definitive. And honestly, I would love to see some of the qualities that have been improved within this film just inserted maybe into the Rocky IV original cut. I think that would make it, that would be the actual ultimate director's cut, in my opinion. But for instance, there's more scenes with Apollo Creed in this film. It fleshes out his why he wants to fight Ivan Drago. It's in the original, you know it, but it runs by a clip, and within this cut, it is more apparent that he's like, well, he feels like he's been a has-been, that he feels like he's born to fight. This is his moment. He needs to do it because he knows nothing else. It's so strong in this cut, I feel. And even there's more to Apollo's funeral. There's a lot more to Apollo's funeral, in fact. And I think I am very, very shocked that any of that was cut back in the day. Because Apollo's funeral in this film I do think that it is a definitive moment now in the Rocky franchise. This is along with like Mickey's funeral and all that kind of stuff. That's how impactful this is. But more so than not, there's tiny little edits that you would never really notice as a showy thing. But the sound design in this is completely overhauled. Punches actually make an impact now. They feel like it's trains hitting these people. The actual punches feel destructive. And that is something that Rocky IV was kind of missing back in the day. Rocky IV was fun. It was never meant to be like, dark. But now the fight with Apollo Creed, the fight with like Rocky, they're actually murdering each other in the ring. And you hear it. That and along with the No Easy Way Out sequence, the montage, Sylvester Stallone has decided to make all of the flashback scenes now in black and white. And that may be you're like, oh, yeah, of course he did. That is easy. You can do that in old Windows Movie Maker. That's nothing. But for some reason, while watching it, I was like, that's a way better use of the flashbacks in that sequence. I adored that change in that sequence. And with that, like I said, there's certain things in this cut which I definitely think need to be seen if you're a Rocky fan. If you love Rocky IV, then it might not be as enjoyable or as brilliant as the original, because you will always have that memory of like, well, I know everything that happens in this film, and I now miss the robot. But at least you're seeing sequences, which are very reminiscent to Rocky 1, 2, and 3. This now actually feels like a continuation of the Rocky trilogy.
Yeah.
Which Rocky 4 never really felt like. It was always that little bit different. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in this cut. As you said, a lot of things are taken out, most notably Burt Young as Paulie is near enough completely cut out of this film, which is unfortunate, as well as Brigitte Nielsen as one of Ivan Drago's managers. And I don't know why she's completely cut out of the film, but she's basically completely cut out of the film. So there are those edits which I'm not happy with. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I think this is a very necessary experiment and experience if you're a Rocky fan.
Fascinating stuff there, Ryan. Thank you very much for that. I thought it was cool to see them punch people.
Yes. I know, exactly. I went too in depth for a film like Rocky IV of all that. If you like Rocky IV, then you're gonna love this film. That's as easy as that.
Simple as.
Yeah. And it's showing again. It's showing down at Cineworld, Union Square. I know for definite. I don't know about the beach, but have a check. But it's showing on Thursday night. Lovely. So if you missed it at View, then definitely go see it if you want to see it.
There you go. You're set in. You're set. Right, let's play some music. I'm sick of our voices. This is Hearts on Fire by John Cafferty from Rocky IV. When you come back, we'll be talking Ghostbusters. See you in a bit. You're listening to In Flight Movies. My name is Glenn, and we're captain this evening, and we are about to start speaking about Ghostbusters Afterlife.
When you said Ghostbusters there, the Busters kind of felt like questionable. Busters?
Busters?
Yeah, and that
Ghostbusters.
That sums up the film rather well.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters? Afterlife?
Afterlife?
Life after? Yeah. Strange. Yes, this is the collaboration between Ricky Gervais and Ghostbusters. Available now. Of course, I'm having a little joke there.
Of course.
Based on because Ricky Gervais has a series on Netflix called Afterlife.
I get it.
Well, you do, but the lovely listeners might not.
Of course.
Ghostbusters Afterlife, brand new. My phone just fell.
Oh, I've got it over here.
It's on the floor.
I've actually got it over here. You continue talking, I'll get it for you.
Don't look at it. Ghostbusters Afterlife, brand new Ghostbusters film, a continuation from the original 1984 film, completely ignoring Ghostbusters 2, completely ignoring the 2016 reboot/remake, and is directed by Jason Reitman, previous director of stuff like Juno and The Frontrunner. two films that people consider to be generally quite decent.
Yeah, he's actually I do actually think he's a really great director when he gets to do the things that I think that he really knows and really wants to do.
Yeah.
Up in the Air as well. Really great films.
Mm-hmm. It's written by Jill Keenan, a first-time writing credit.
Another one this week.
This one just for the writing of the script, not the screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Reitman was the head of the screenplay. They also credit Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis both in the film, in the credits, and on IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's only because they wrote the original 1984 film, and they used that as the basis for this film.
Yes.
So must credit them as pseudo-writers for that as well. Which is, and I will say this now, a bit of a sneaky move, because in the credits of this film, and by that I mean the cinematic credits that continue on from the film, they actually just show Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis as the writers, making you think that this film was kind of written by them, or at least that's what I thought.
Or like a treatment,
A treatment was written by them of this film that was just never made. That is not the case. They just credit Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis as writers based on the fact that they wrote the original 1984 film, which is a sneaky move that I'm not too fond of, for reasons that I may get into later on. The film is starring Carrie Coon as Callie, Paul Rudd, sexiest man alive, according to Time Magazine.
Yes. People
Magazine. I don't disagree. As Mr. Gruberson, which is one of the best names I've heard in film in quite some time. Finn Wolfhard as Trevor, McKenna Grace as Phoebe, and Logan Kim as Podcast, who is now our favourite character in any film. Podcast was great. I love him. Yes. I would die for Podcast.
Absolutely. I fully agree. He says one line in this, which I feel like will definitely go for our own podcast even. He speaks the truth.
He does speak
the
truth.
Yes.
There's a very funny moment in which he's interviewing someone who's like, so tell me your name, what you had for breakfast, which is what I do to Ryan to get his levels for the show.
Yeah. It was fairly scary.
It was scary. It was
that
funny.
was the scariest thing in this film.
So Ghostbusters Afterlife is the story of Phoebe being a young girl with her brother Trevor, who's played by Phil Wolfhard, and both their mum Callie, played by Carrie Coon, and they moved to a small town in an old house that was owned by their grandfather, and they moved there, and creepy stuff happens out of nowhere, and Paul Rudd is there, and a couple other people are there, and ghosts happen.
Yes.
And they have an Ecto-1 and proton packs, and Ghostbusters things happen, but that's all I can really say. I don't really want to give away too much. There are points of this film that I didn't know about, and I'm glad I didn't know about going into it. Don't really want to get into that too much. This is a direct continuation of the original 1984 film, and I mean direct, does not acknowledge 2, does not acknowledge the 2016 film at all.
Which is kind of surprising for 2, because I heard that it was going to also continue on from 2, but yeah, definitely this doesn't care for that one.
Does not care for that at all.
No.
Which is very interesting. So, the critical reception of this film has been pretty all over the place. In the last issue of Empire that I read, they give it 4 stars. Mark Kermode, one of our personal favourite reviewers, who reviews films on BBC Radio 5 Live, completely slated the film on his show, completely hates it. Other people say it's terrible, other people say it's great, some people say it's okay. It's all over the place. I haven't really seen much divisiveness in a film like this in some time. Personally, I didn't hate it.
I'm in the middle.
I am Jimmy Meets World on this film. I'm with you on that. I am in the middle. And I think that's because the film is pretty in the middle with it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
The first hour of this film isn't that great.
No, not at all.
It's pretty boring.
What I feel like is that the story that they set up in the first hour would actually be a very decent family drama if it got a payoff, but it never gets a payoff because the second hour of this film is Ghostbusters. So you get the setup of a movie that never finishes, but then you get Ghostbusters instead, and you're like, well, okay. Yeah.
It's kind of weird. There's some scenes that are just there and then completely disappear and never actually come up again, which is very strange to me. Characters are just kind of thrown at you, but not as if they're established. They're thrown at you with the intention of still developing them, which again is a bit weird and kind of feels awkward. Notably, Finn Wolfhard. Did not care for him at all in
not
this
at
film.
all.
Did
and
not
and
care
his
for him.
storyline, you could cut it completely out.
Yep.
It takes up too much of this film.
McKenna Grace is great in it.
I loved her performance.
She's
as
really
Phoebe.
good in this.
Yeah.
I want more of her. We
Yeah.
get, actually, I say that, but we get plenty of her. Paul Rudd, also really funny in this because
Yes.
it's Paul Rudd and he makes anything like at least bearable. I want to see more of him in this. Carrie Coon was decent. She was okay.
Didn't get a lot to do.
Did
I
not
felt.
get a lot to do.
Carrie Coon and Paul Rudd, very good in this film. However, much like the story from the first hour, I feel like they get a very raw deal going into the second half, and that is something that I'm disappointed with. Especially Paul Rudd, because his setup as a character
is good.
Is really good. Yeah,
but
it's
they
really fun.
Turn him into Rick Moranis,
basically
Rick Moranis from the original 1984 film, which I think is the biggest crux of this film, is how much it leans on the original. Now, not in the same fashion that something like The Force Awakens leans on A New Hope. The Force Awakens leans on A New Hope as in for a basis of the story to begin a new franchise. They use, you've got Starkiller Base and the Death Star, you've got person gets captured on the Death Star, you need to get them before we blow up, yada yada. The story's done again. But it doesn't exactly lean too much on the film that you can't enjoy on its own. This leans a little too much on the original, so much that I think if you didn't know anything about Ghostbusters at all and had never seen the original and watched it, you would go, huh?
Yeah.
A few things.
Like every other scene is like, oh, this, that, and the next thing that you really remember.
That is a reference, or something that I'm surprised they never referenced. It's a bit weird, some of the things they do in this film. Some things are like straight up just like the same again.
Yeah.
Other things are slightly different. Some things are new. I don't know. It is all over the place.
Well, that's it. Like the actual Ghostbusters element in this film, or let's even say the screenplay, I don't think there's anything original about this Ghostbusters stuff.
No, they just scale.
They just throw it into another film and then rework that film to make that a Ghostbusters film. It doesn't it doesn't feel like a natural continuation in any sense.
It's a bit odd. In saying all that, though, that's not in any way to say the film is bad, because I don't think it's a bad film.
I was pleasantly surprised.
So was I. The film's fun, especially that second half, because it's Ghostbusters again. So of course it's fun. It's cheesy. It's very morbid with its humor. I think it's quite funny because of that. There's a pretty good scene involving little Stay Puft Marshmallow Men and Paul Rudd, which is particularly funny. I will also
reminiscent of Gremlins.
Very reminiscent of Gremlins,
Yes.
Which I think is why I enjoyed it so much. I will give a shout out to the special effects in this film, heavily CG'd. However, they use practical effects.
And are they beautiful?
They are really good.
I absolutely love. There's one segment in which a certain ghost figure bashes through trash cans and like garbage and all that kind of stuff. And I honestly think it might be stop motion.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that is beautiful.
It is.
I love it.
They really do some fun stuff with the practical effects as a callback to the original, which is fantastic. This film could easily heavily rely on CG for absolutely everything, but they use practical effects for some stuff, which is really cool, and I really enjoy that. And that was a really nice surprise to see as well. I remember seeing that and going, oh, awesome, practical
That's good.
effects.
Yeah.
The actual ghost busting in this film is very action-packed and quite fun. It's good. They use kids a lot for the ghost busting, and because you have McKenna Grace and Phil Wolfhard as the kids. So it's fun to watch that as well. And they're all good enough that I enjoy them. I enjoy watching them bust ghosts.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that not a ghost is busted until about an hour into this film.
Yeah. It takes a while.
It takes a while for things to get going. Too long for things to get going. Could easily be a 90-minute film. Or if you did want to make it 2 hours, could at least flesh out some later parts of the film, which I would love to see fleshed out.
Yeah.
That I don't want to spoil.
Yeah. To try and talk about them later parts, it feels like there's certain elements that just get brought up at the very end, and it really does feel like a skit comedy at times.
It does.
In which it's like, oh, we'll just throw these things in, and then now you've got to deal with them.
They do a very Deus Ex Machina kind of moment in which it's just like, oh, everything's fixed now because this happened. And it's like, oh, cool, I'm happy it happened because it was cool to see, but you could have done it a bit better.
Yeah.
So it's a little disappointing in that regard. But aside from all that, it was still like genuinely quite decent.
Yeah.
And if you want a nice, fun, like blockbuster film to watch, to bide you over before stuff like Spider-Man comes out, then I mean, there's no harm in seeing this.
Especially considering, well, before we went in to see it, we were like, we're not excited for this at all.
No.
And I don't know if it was because of it feels like a lack of marketing. There doesn't really seem to be a lot of like hype surrounding this film. So maybe we just went in not expecting much, and then we were pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I think so.
But I do think that there is genuine qualities. It's the second best Ghostbusters film. It's much better than Ghostbusters 2. Like, Ghostbusters 2, people are like, oh yeah, I'm a fan of Ghostbusters 2. It's rubbish. It's not good.
I will admit now, I've not seen the original Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2 in some time.
Yeah.
I'd love to again, just to like get a feel for it as well. But both me and you have never seen the 2016 reboot.
No. That's something I will say as well. 2016 reboot, I actually do want to give it a chance to see it.
So do I.
But at that moment in time, the trailers, none of the jokes landed for me. And I didn't think that the trailers looked funny.
Nope.
But I feel like for Ghostbusters, the idea of SNL people, SNL celebrities, let's say, doing and making a Ghostbusters film, I think that might be the right way to do it. But that 2016 Ghostbusters just unfortunately went too heavily into the comedy. Yeah. Because the original Ghostbusters, sure, it's a comedy, but it is a film. It's not. It doesn't have to be on the level of a joke every single second.
Yeah.
The characters get fleshed out. Bill Murray's not always funny in the film. He's not even a nice guy. They make that his character. But from my knowledge and from the trailers, that's what the 2016 film did. But I would be very curious to see if they would ever try that again. Because I think that is the way to do like a very good Ghostbusters
film.
That's
something that we were talking about, is whether or not they would open it up for a sequel.
Yeah.
The film does leave it open-ended, I will say that. So there is room for a sequel. I don't think so.
I don't think,
I think they have run this tap incredibly dry.
Yeah.
I think even Afterlife was a stretch.
Yeah.
But you've done it. That's it. I don't think you should do any more. And if you are going to do any more, at least wait another 10 years and do some.
Yes, absolutely. The best Ghostbusters sequel was, without a doubt, the video game. Which is now unfortunately not canon. It was at one moment in time.
Really?
It was the third Ghostbusters like story.
Wow.
But now it's no longer canon.
How dare they?
Yeah, how dare they?
How dare
the
they?
The video game's great. Go play it if you haven't played it.
You could easily make a Left 4 Dead style game with Ghostbusters.
Yeah, you could do, yeah.
Where it's like 4-player co-op. That'd be good.
Yeah.
As a final note to this film, I think it does a really, really good job leaving a legacy for Harold Ramis.
Yes.
The unfortunate timely passing of him prior to the film's release. I think it was 2019.
No, it was years ago. I think it was like 2014.
Wow.
It's a few years back, yeah.
But Harold Ramis is done justice in this film, I will say that. And they do a good job with it. Possibly seen as maybe a bit, I don't know, distasteful in places, but I'm sure the film wouldn't be made without there at least being some, yeah, you can do this.
Yeah, I do believe that there was a comment that came out in which Jason Reitman, Jason Reitman asked the family of Harold Ramis and was like, is everything that we thingy in this script, is this okay? And he got the go ahead. So
yeah, that's
for
good
that,
then. That's
yes.
good then. That makes me happy. So yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's in cinemas now. If you have the time and can be bothered, you can definitely go check it out. It's worth a watch.
Yeah,
it's not too bad. Right, music time. We're gonna move on. The next couple songs, the next two songs, in fact, are from recent releases. You know, will we play them back to back?
We can do, yes.
Yeah, let's go back to back.
Yeah.
We're gonna play back to back. So there was two recent releases of live albums on Friday last week. They were the Oasis 1996 live performance from Knebworth. Which did we talk about that in the show? Or
no, we haven't talked about it on the show.
So there was a film released about the 1996 Knebworth tour from Oasis.
Very good
documentary. Yeah. It's a pseudo documentary in concert, and was really eye opening, I guess, to what it was like to be an Oasis fan and a fan of music at that time as well. God, that was like a hell of a concert. I'll tell you that.
But, like when we saw that, you were like, I wonder who is the equivalent.
Is the artist of our generation.
Exactly.
And
I still can't think.
Can't think either.
Yeah.
It just doesn't come to mind. But this, we're going to play Live Forever from the live performance of that. And the other one is a Bruce Springsteen live performance. Live from where?
It's, I can't remember where, but it's the No Nukes. It's the legendary No Nukes concert, in which it was a charity. It was the first charity gig that Bruce Springsteen ever took part in his early career.
I see.
And the whole album, both of these albums are excellent evidence even of just how brilliant these two artists were at live performances.
Perfect. So from Oasis you'll get Live Forever, and from Bruce Springsteen you'll be getting Sherry Darling. So we'll play both of these songs, and then when we come back we will quickly get into Petite Maman, and we will close out the show with a song from that. We'll see you in a bit. Please enjoy Sherry Darling, performed by Bruce Springsteen live at Madison Square Gardens. And before that you had Oasis Live Forever live at Knebworth 1996. Both live albums came out last Friday. Perfect chance to play them on the show. Right, our final film that we're going to be talking about today is Petite Maman. It is about 10 minutes until the show is over. We're 10 minutes to 10. We will quickly talk about this and then play a song from the film, and we'll leave you with that. And that'll be our show for the day. Right, Petite Maman, directed by Céline Sciamma. Now, if that's a name you recognize, that is because she was the director of 2 years ago's 2019's absolutely stunningly gorgeous film, Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
I think it might be the best film of that year.
Probably the best film of that year.
Yeah.
I still put it above Parasite.
Yeah, so do I.
Parasite's great, but oh boy, was Portrait of a Lady on Fire something else.
Yeah.
If you loved that film, you'll love this film. For different reasons. But having seen Petite Maman now, after having seen Portrait of a Lady on Fire and nothing else of Celine's work, I am desperate to go back and see more.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Her style and the way that she makes a film is what people would maybe consider dry, but I consider it mature.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you a chance to really take in every inch of the screen. They don't try and force you to feel emotions at all. They give you enough time, they give you enough energy, and the films that she makes are just shot so beautifully. She has such a way of framing scenes.
Yes.
And I know that sounds oddly specific, but it's true. Shots are very static. Characters walk into shots. Cameras don't follow characters walking into shots. Cameras are very static. They're set up. They're almost symmetrical in a way, but sometimes not. They use the 3-point plan, the grid section very, very well. Objects are within probably 2 points of a grid at one time. And other parts of the scene are coloured very nicely. She has a very monotone and quite I get people would say maybe drab color tone, but usually for her characters we'll use brighter colors, so they stand out more in accordance to the backdrop. Her visual style is what stands out the most of this film,
and
but
it's absolutely beautiful.
It's bloody gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely stunning to watch. Not only that, but this film is generally lovely.
Yeah.
This is a lovely film.
There's not one harsh thing that I can think saying about the film.
There's not a bad thing about it. It's not perfect, of course. No film is perfect, but it is, oh man, bloody lovely.
Yes.
So you have Josephine Sanz and Gabrielle Sanz who play Nellie and Marion. Me and Ryan were sitting guessing if it's the same actress playing the same two different characters, but no, I believe they're twins.
Yes.
And then of course you have, I say of course as if you know these people, but they're French actors and actresses, so they're not exactly within our pop culture, but you have Nina Mercier who plays La Mère, or the mother, and you have Stéphane Verpen as Le Père, or father. It's a very, very simple film, very short, 72 minutes, just over an hour.
But that's it, it never, it uses that time to its absolute fullest effect.
It really does, it does.
There is not one moment wasted in this film, and honestly, the best thing that you can take away from this is that Céline is like, right, okay, I only need that amount of time to tell the story. I am not going to pad it out with anything unnecessary. Here you go, 72 minutes. And it's perfect.
It's another one of those films where you can go in knowing very little about it and still really enjoy yourself. The gist of the story is that Nellie's grandmother recently dies, and so her mum and her dad are going to their grandmother's old house to clear it out of all their old belongings. And while they're staying there, Nellie begins to explore the forest and makes a friend.
Yes.
And that's pretty much all I want to tell you.
That's it, yeah.
There's not much else that I want to explain to you about the film or give away. The film doesn't exactly hold on to its secrets for long. It gives you the gist of what's going on pretty much within the first 20 minutes, and then for the rest of the film you're just enjoying yourself.
It's very tender with
it
its
is tender.
subjects as well.
I put quaint is one of the words that I would use to describe it.
The fact that it deals with like the likes of grief and the likes of moving on and death of a loved one. These are hard-hitting subjects, but this is a film. It's a universal rated film, and it deals with those subjects in such a refreshingly, just nice way. It's something that you could show to a child, and it just it's so nice. That's the only word I can think about. It's
really nice. It's just a really, really lovely, heartwarming, feel-good film. There's a lot of really nice parts about this that I appreciate. The camera angle pretty much at all times is down to the eyes of the children. So we're seeing this film from a child's perspective, which is lovely to see and a nice little touch. The house that they're in is very deliberately placed. There's very deliberate things that they say that aren't too obvious until you realize later on. Scene transitions. I never thought scene transitions would ever become a thing that I wanted to talk about unless it was either Star Wars or Spider-Man 2. But the scene transitions in this film are so nice.
Quite magical.
They are magical. They are whimsical. They play around with the camera. They play around with the characters, and things happen so well, and they're done so well. There's lovely one takes in this film as well. The child actors, Josephine and Gabrielle Sanz, they're equally fantastic.
Outstanding
Both of them are brilliant in this film.
Especially considering these kids are very young.
They're 8.
Yeah, they're very young.
Or at least the characters in the film are 8.
And like they're given very mature performances.
They are.
To that regard.
There's very heartwarming and fun scenes with them that are very funny to watch. There's like, you see them acting out scenes with each other. It's just cute and adorable, and it's such a lovely film. And really, if you want something to feel good about, it's worth your time completely. And
coming off of Portrait of a Lady on Fire, I'm not going to compare the films because they're completely different, and they're both really, really good. Watch both films if you have not yet seen Portrait of a Lady on Fire or Petite Maman. But it's the fact that Céline could go from Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which is a very, very
raunchy.
I would say, not even raunchy, I would say a very intense love story.
Yeah.
You feel the tension every single scene in that. And I would say that this is also a love story, but a love story between friends that is unadulterated. It's pure.
It is.
And it really makes me excited for Céline Sciamma's future in filmmaking. Yes, I think with these two films, it's such a brilliant voice that has been brought to French cinema.
Yeah. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that we're able to see these films in the West as well.
Yes.
Well, I say in the West, but see them more in the mainstream. So we saw this in Cineworld, which goes to show that these are becoming more mainstream. Right. Pardon me, I've burped. That means the show has ended. Thank you very much for listening. Remember, if you missed any of our previous shows within the past 2 or 3 weeks, you're able to check them out on our YouTube channel. Links can be found on our Twitter at @inflight_movies. That's at @inflight_movies. You can check us out there. Tell us what you've seen this week. Next week, we will be having reviews of House of Gucci.
Can't wait.
Encanto, the new Disney film, and probably 1 or 2 extras that I can't
think
really
there is a few things coming out.
Pirates,
the
Reggie Yates film.
Yes.
So those 3 are confirmed for next week. We'll get those ready and reviewed for you. By then, hopefully we'll see you then. To leave you, this is La Musique des Futurs, featured within Petite Maman. Please enjoy. We'll catch you next week. Goodbye. Thank you for listening.